This episode of Old Roommates was made possible by listeners like you and special Patreon member, Mr. Rob Cella. Thank you for your support of Old Roommates. Enjoy the episode. Hey everybody, and welcome to Old Roommates. Today on the show, we revisit Raising Arizona. So take that diaper off your head, put it back onto your sister, and have a seat.
Welcome everyone to Old Roommates, the only podcast that revisits pop culture through a middle-aged lens. This is Christina.
This is Brian.
And we're revisiting 1987's Raising Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
Holly Hunter, Nicolas Cage, John Goodman.
Francesmcdormand,
which I totally forgot about.
She's like unrecognizable.
She really is. If I didn't see her name, I'm not sure I would have even realized. I mean, I guess maybe. I would have been like, who is that? So, Brian,
yes.
I know how you love to stick to format, so I'm going to ask you straight away.
Okay.
What were your first experiences, I guess, with Raising Arizona?
So you mean then?
That's the
key word.
I'm so sorry.
So we've only been doing this for a couple of years. It's
you
fine.
know what? I'm trying to, make it a little more interesting for our viewers.
Oh my God. People like consistency. People like consistency. Okay?
So why don't we just record the same question and I'll edit it in every episode.
Oh my
we won't even
God.
have to have a conversation.
So, not a bad idea. So then, I don't know if you know this, one of my favorite movies of all time.
Oh my gosh, no, I did not notice.
I love this movie, but the funny thing is, I haven't seen it in probably at least 17, 18 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so I know for sure, probably longer.
Jeez, what do you do with your least favorites?
No, you know why? Because I didn't see this in the movie theater. I saw it on VHS, and I'm like, it just grabbed me. Mm-hmm. I was laughing. Here's the funny thing. I remember watching trailers for this movie and being like, nope.
Isn't that funny?
I think out of context, it's too much. Mm-hmm. This is my then. And so when I saw it on VHS, it was like, oh my God, this is so funny. And just so quotable, the accents, the dialogue, the acting, and it's so fast. I mean, you barely have time to hate it, to be honest. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, this is then. But yeah, one of my favorite movies, and certainly one of my all-time favorite comedies. I think it's just so well done, so well cast, and that was my then. How about yours?
My then was definitely a video rental. I feel like I just stumbled across it. And this, too, is one of my all-time favorite movies. One of my all-time favorite comedies.
Wow, I did not know that.
That is so funny that we did not know that about each other. How did we not, rent it together?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. It's been a long time since I've seen this.
Yeah, it's one of those, oddball movies, though. I don't think you really think much about it. When you think, comedy, I don't know if I would think...
My right hand to God, the reason why this came up as a suggestion is because it's on Hulu.
Oh, funny.
But it's not usually one of those it's not usually on the streamers.
It really isn't. So it's really funny. Maybe that's why we just never had a real conversation about it. But yeah, one of my all-time favorites. I loved how different it was from every other movie I had seen. Mm-hmm. It's so oddball. Mm-hmm. The characters are hilarious, completely over the top. The situations are beyond anything you'd ever experience. Mm-hmm. Just really, really funny. The music in the background is funny. I'm sorry, we're talking about now. We're talking about then. But, honestly, it hasn't changed much. Because, it's one of those movies I would make people watch. Let's watch this. I watched it a ton of times back then. I haven't, again, same as far as time frame, I haven't seen it in probably 20 years. Yeah. So just a really fun, different kind of movie. Then.
Now here's the big moment.
Here's now.
Let's just dive right in. I was a goner for this all over again. Like, the second Holly Hunter as Ed is crying, trying to take his picture.
Oh, jeez.
And he's like, "What's wrong, Ed?" She's like, "My finance left me." And I was like, fuck it. I'm like, I'm just laughing. I'm just laughing at every dialogue thing.
It's so funny. Watching Holly Hunter cry is one of my favorite things. Like, hysterically crying in this movie. Because it happens again when she's barren.
She not only is crying, she turns the sirens of her police car on. So it's like, High's like, and then the roof caved in. And you hear the police sirens. You see the car, like, leaving a trail of smoke in its path. And you see it flinging all around. And then she pulls up and she's like, "I'm barren." Oh.
And just, I mean, I love, like, the narration.
Well, here's why the barren thing. Here's the funny thing. Because, like, now that we're older, I have known a lot of couples that have had reproductive struggles, that have gone through great lengths, either to adopt, to have babies, to, you know, all kinds of things.
For sure.
And what I like about this is that, like, it's important to them, and it's really emotional to her. Now, the barometer of emotion is enhanced because it's a comedy.
Of course.
But it's real.
It's real.
Like, she's crying. This is an emergency. It's shaking her up about her body, about their future together. So she's turning the sirens on, and she's crying. And I think there is some, you know, it's like, it's tough because it's such an offbeat, zany comedy based in nothing that but you're talking about something now that is a much more prevalent, common issue, it seems.
Very much so.
Well, you know what?
I think there are different...
More talked about.
More talked about, and I think there are different options now.
Yeah.
So,
But I guess what my point is, seeing this now, and having those sensitivities in our culture of people who want to have kids but that are having struggles but are going through different options, right? I don't think it's offensive. Right. I don't think it's not making a joke about that. It's, to your earlier point, it's just a different way of telling a story.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah. So and as a grown-up, I was worried about that. And I was like, oh, you know what? I really appreciate this.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, for me, for now, I was a little bit nervous to watch this because there have been moments during this podcast in the last 110 episodes or so that we've done that I've watched a movie that I've loved 20 years ago, and then I'm looking at it through different eyes, and times have changed, and I've not liked it as much. And I was really kind of worried about this movie. I'm like, I really, really love this movie. So I really hope that I still like this movie. And I did!
Yay!
And I think it was absolutely one of those movies that I knew a lot of the dialogue already. Very, like you said, very quotable. And that just brought me back. Super nostalgic for me. And I really feel like it would have been very hard-pressed to be in a situation where I did not like this movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I thoroughly enjoyed it, and Matt was with me, and he also enjoyed it. I think I didn't ask him the last time he saw it, but I feel like it was quite a long time ago as well. And we both just had so much fun watching it, and I felt like the funny parts were even funnier. I don't know. I just really enjoyed it.
It's really effective, and I think I will say I'm going to probably get to that in a little bit, but like maybe I'll get to it now. But it's my takeaway here was like that the more dramatic elements worked too, like. I guess, you know, tying into like being, you know, say barren, tying into like the kidnapping and having, you know, a lost baby, to their marital strife, to prison outbreak, to like where the baby honestly becomes more like a symbol of greed than anything else. Right. And but I think all that stuff certainly was lost on me as a, say, 17-year-old kid. Sure. But now as someone considerably older, it's like it all really, really works. And it's like, so there's like, you have the comedy, but then you also have this like sort of film
strong story.
It's like a film noir. It has very like some dark tones. There's a bunch of some mysterious characters. Everyone has an angle. There's something in this for everyone. and at the center is like a sort of a baby comedy, you know?
Yes.
So it just, I don't know, I loved it all over again. I think I loved it even more. But just the stuff like, okay then. Okay then. And then one of my all-time favorites, probably one of my all-time favorite movie lines of all time is Nicolas Cage says, Bill Parker? He's like, no, I'm not that mother scratcher. A mother scratcher. Oh my god. I so many of my notes are just quotes.
Yep.
If a frog had wings, it wouldn't bump its ass a-hoppin'. Oh my god. That actor, is it Trey? What is his name? The Arizona senior is, I think, very underrated in this. I think he's excellent.
Ed's insides were a rocky place where my seed has no purchase. Oh, I actually even loved when he went to propose, like when he walks in to see Ed to propose. She's, you know, he gets it down on one knee and he turns around, hi, Kurt. Just little silly things made me laugh throughout the whole thing. The kidnapping scene, I loved then and I love now with all the babies.
That's my only negative.
No way!
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
Continue. I don't want to interrupt you. Continue.
No, I thought it was so fun. Just how he's putting one down and it's walking away, and I loved like the horror music sort of in the background. I think that made it for me, like and just running around and grabbing it. I mean, it's obviously very. Oh, I just dropped my notebook. It's obviously very far-fetched that, you know, he would pick all of them up and
that's
put them
my
down
issue. That's my issue.
That.
I think if there's... Yeah.
It made for a funny scene. And it also spoke to how inexperienced he is as a parent and things like that. So I kind of saw that. But, yeah, the fact that he put it down... I remember being more annoyed with it when I first saw it. Than now. Now I just took it as this is like really funny. Just trying to, because I honestly I know how fast the kids are. I know how easily it is that they just disappear. So I just thought that was funny. But yes, it didn't make sense that he was picking up
all of
just
them.
grab
yeah,
one.
And just putting them on the floor.
But I mean, originally didn't he pick it up to soothe it because it was crying?
Yes.
So I mean, I got
and
that,
I did laugh out loud when the baby threw himself out of the crib on top of him. It's just so funny. I mean, there are scenes you're watching this really going, that must have been a lot of fun to film.
Yeah,
right? Like just really funny things. Sad news. The actor I was just raving about, and I remembered this, but it was a long time ago. Trey Wilson played Mr. Arizona, the father.
Oh.
He died at the age of 40.
Oh my God.
Less than 2 years after this movie was released.
Oh, come on.
Of a cerebral hemorrhage.
That's terrible.
Brain hemorrhage, that's all. I mean, it's like very sad. He'd already been cast in future projects and just shocking death 5 days before he was to turn 41.
Oh my that's so sad. That's really sad.
Is excellent in that. He's also in Bull Durham as well. Trey Wilson is his name. I loved him in this. I loved that scene with him and Leonard Smalls when the big motorcycle guy they're in their office talking.
That's a great scene. I kind of forgot that scene, to be honest.
I forgot how well written it was.
Yeah, it was really well. Yeah, it was really well written because I was trying to think of the motorcycle guy. I'm like, where did he come in? Like I was trying to figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
I forget exactly why he was there and why he was trying to get the kid and all that. So it pulled it together for me. But yeah, that scene was really well done.
Mm-hmm. And also, I mean, just because at one point he believes this guy is he's like, I think this is a shakedown. Mm-hmm. He's like, I think you know where the baby is. I think you have the baby, and da 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 da. And just the way he's just a little bit smarter and sharper. The problem for him is that he doesn't quite know how to get physically involved in this thing. He's trusting the cops, but he doesn't really trust the cops because they're all like they have their feet on his coffee table. Yes. They're interviewing him like he's a suspect because he is, just because that's how life is. Right. But it's but I just like his reactions were really good and funny and loud, and it didn't change the tone. No, but it just made him like probably one of the smarter characters in the movie.
Yeah, which is funny. I didn't remember him as being super smart. Mm-hmm. I just remember him as being loud.
Yeah, so I go back. Let's go back to the abduction scene because you really liked it, but I just struggled. I was like, it's just too long, and I didn't know, and I was like, why is he taking all the babies out? This is obviously, but I think to your point, like you were really realizing how ill-equipped he was to raise a child or to even hold a baby.
Right.
I do love Holly Hunter when he comes back without a baby.
Oh,
and
my gosh.
She's locking the door.
Yep.
And she's like, of course they cry. Babies cry.
Yep.
And she is... and then...
Don't come back until you've got me a toddler.
Yep. I need a baby, huh? They got more than they can handle.
They got more than they can handle.
And then when she's holding the baby and everything seems completely...
I love it. I love it so much.
Normal. Do you want to do it? She's like... I love him so much. And he's like, I know you do, Hannah. I love him so much. He's like, I know you do.
Oh my gosh.
By the way.
Oh my gosh.
Do you know how old Nicolas Cage was when he was filming this movie?
God, I don't know.
22.
No.
Yeah.
I was going to say 30.
Nicolas Cage is 22 when he filmed this movie.
Oh my gosh.
He is so fucking good in this movie.
He really is.
So funny. And holds his own with
100%.
These other sort of more, I don't know, I guess better known actors and at that point. But I mean, he's so funny and weird and like outrageous and will do anything.
Very up for anything.
Yeah.
You can tell he's just like,
funny.
Whatever.
With Nicolas Cage is funny. So my favorite movies, as you know, Christina, Moonstruck, Peggy Sue Got Married, and Raising Arizona. Like,
That's
he's
so
the
funny.
male lead in all three.
I didn't even put that together.
But when I think about like my favorite actors, Nicolas Cage doesn't really pop up immediately, and I think part of that is actually a compliment because he just fits the world.
Yes,
like he fits these worlds so easily that it doesn't feel like. I mean, even in Moonstruck, when he's like, "I lost my hand, I lost my," it's like it just fits, and it doesn't, and I don't feel like I'm watching a performance.
Well, that's it. You're watching the character. You're not watching the actor.
Yeah,
exactly.
And so he's so good in this.
The parents during that abduction scene, just to get back to that,
oh my God,
reminded me so much of in Heather's, like her parents.
Oh yeah, Disconnected.
I just got that vibe.
Yeah,
especially the mom.
She's great, and I think she has maybe 2 lines, maybe one of them is just a scream. I think the Glenn and Dottie. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's going to pick up that siren. It's like right outside our house.
I bet it is.
Glenn and Dottie. Glenn is High's boss, his foreman, and they're coming to visit with their children.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, 1 million children.
Several children. Pounding, beating up the car.
Just the worst.
Squirting the squirt gun in High's crotch.
Oh my gosh.
Screaming, scratching the word fart into the wall.
I love how disconnected they are to the kids. They're like, Kids, get away from McDonough's car. As they're like 4 of them are on top of him, beating it with like a baseball bat.
What about when the kid's scratching the word fart in the wall?
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, Hi, watch this. And he grabs a handful of M&Ms.
Yeah.
And he goes, hit the deck, boy! And he just like whips the candy across the house. The kid like ducks and it smashes against the wall.
Doesn't he like compliment him for like spelling fart correctly or something? Doesn't he say something about that idea?
Like he's
like
good
boy.
ABCs. Yeah.
He's doing, yeah. Oh my gosh. So funny.
God.
So funny.
Dottie, played by Francesmcdormand. And I'm telling you, Francesmcdormand, I didn't care for Fargo, and I loved her in Fargo.
Yeah.
I have seen her in a lot of stuff, and I didn't really... Did you see Nomadland? The one she just won
her
third
I actually
Oscar.
wanted to. Did you see it?
I did. You don't have to see it.
Okay.
It just feels like... I don't know. I think I'm in the minority on this. I just, like... My joke is, like, it's a harrowing tale of a woman who shits in a bucket and wins an Oscar. Like, she basically is... She basically is, like, this, like... Yeah, nomad. She's like in this. She works these sort of like temporary jobs across the country. It's a little deeper than that, of course. Yeah. But like, it just feels more like a social experiment than an actual movie to me. Mm-hmm. I didn't really care for her in that. I didn't care for the movie. But
it's not a documentary. It's
but it's filmed. There's things like some of the actors in it are not actors. They're like people that have really lived this way. But it's fine. Doesn't even matter. But my point is, this shows how funny Francesmcdormand can be. Yes. She is friends with Holly Hunter in real life. That's how she was. my understanding, they wrote this role with Holly Hunter in mind.
Interesting.
But Frances and Holly are friends, and so Frances is married to one of the Coen brothers, of course. So, she's part of this. And I think she is just so funny in this.
She's great.
The diaper line, take the diaper off your head, put it back onto your sister.
Oh my gosh, I love the whole thing. The dip tat? Did you get the dip tat? Oh, you gotta get the dip tat.
We gotta get on that hat.
And then she's just like, oh yeah, did we get the dip tat? Did we get the dip tat high?
Ha! She's like, Ed's got her handful with this little angel. Oh my god! And then at one point,
and she just sees it. She sees it, and she looks for a second at the child, and then goes, "Oh, there's a face of an angel!" Gosh, just crazy, crazy and hilarious.
Oh my god! I loved that shocking twist with Glenn, because he's right that High is feeling understimulated.
Yes.
Because what High means, though, is that he's used to being a criminal, and now he's being a respectable citizen. Glenn misreads these cues.
Oh my gosh.
And suggests wife swapping. And that does not go over super well. And again, I have to bring up, that scene is very intense and kind of almost scary.
Yes.
With Nicolas Cage, and he's a 22-year-old.
That's crazy.
Actor. I mean, he's so good.
So good.
Okay, I don't want to go too fast, but my next note is about John Goodman.
Sure. Yeah, let's talk about... I don't have a ton of notes. I really don't have a ton of notes because I was just enjoying it so much.
But it's a lot of quotes, but like John Goodman, he basically... They're so disgusting. And, then. This is a then and now thing.
Okay.
So then... That prison break in the mud.
Oh.
I remember being a teenager and almost throwing.
Oh my gosh! It really
because
so
it doesn't
gross.
really look like mud. It's a little gelatin to it.
Yep.
And like some of it falls in his mouth.
It's just so gross. I would not have wanted to film that.
And then
scene.
you find out, like Holly Hunter's like, "What's that smell?"
Yeah.
And then they go, "Sorry, man, we hit a sewer line." She's like, "Oh, you busted out of jail." Like. They hit a sewer line, so they have mud and shit. They're sitting all over their furniture.
It's so disgusting.
Oh,
I love her in those scenes too. She's so good in the scenes because she's trying to be like a normal person, like trying to be like a nice wife and polite, but she's just like, yeah, you can't stay here.
Yeah. Well, she
just starts getting more and more upset. More and more upset.
Well, she's like, they're fugitives, huh? She's like,
yeah.
They're fugitives, huh? How are we supposed to start a new life with them around? Mm-hmm. And then the next morning, she's singing, and I remember being a kid being fascinated by that lullaby song.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like, I murdered this girl. Yes. It's like she's singing this to this like baby. But it's a real song. I'm trying to think what the name of it is. It's like, I looked it up, but I'll have to look it up again. But when John Goodman says, John Goodman knows that there's a bank they would love to rob because it's going to be a big day for the local bank. So when he finds out that High has lost his job, he's like, "Brother, I'd rather light a candle than curse your darkness."
Oh my god!
Oh my god, it's so good because he's so authoritative. Like you just kind of like, okay, yeah, I'll go along with that. Mm-hmm. John Goodman he's just awesome in this.
He's so good. He's so good in this. And so very unlike a character that he would normally play. Mm-hmm. So it's surprising and fun, and he's gross.
Gross. I can't, when they're eating the cereal, I can't, I was gagging as a grown-up. Oh, as a kid, I was laughing my ass off.
Like just slurping
away. But now, no. If that is happening at my table, no.
You believe him as a criminal. You can see how manipulative he is with people. And he was such a good character. Mm-hmm. He's such a good character. And that's what I love about this movie is like these characters are great. They're great characters.
They're all great characters. When they realize they have left the baby on the roof. Oh, and they're just screaming the entire time. I don't know how long. I should have timed it. I don't know how long that time.
That's an excellent scene. There's lots of great screams in this movie.
And they're just like punching the car. And they're like, no.
And then they decide they love this baby so much they're going to keep it.
Oh my god! And then so two really more quotes. I have so many quotes, but it's like they're at the gas station, they're buying balloons. And he's like, hey, do these blow up into funny shapes? And the guy at the couch was like, well, no, not unless round is funny.
Yeah.
And then they bust into the bank, and it's this big bank heist. And the guy's like, John Goodman's like, everybody freeze! Everybody get down on the ground! And people are like, they don't know what to do.
And they're like, well, we don't know what to do,
The guy, his line is, well, which is it, young feller? If I say freeze, then I freeze. Oh my God. And then the guy's explaining,
and then they can't find the tellers.
Just stop!
Right? And then they're like, where are the tellers? Oh, we're on the ground, sir.
And then, what is the other guy's name? It's like, they're down on the floor like you told them to. Like, he's like trying to be all realistic.
And he calls him Gail.
Oh,
right?
and
so
it's
like, you're
code.
not supposed to do that. Oh, they're my code name. Oh my gosh, that's just so funny, so bumbling. Very unlike the Point Break.
But it's also exciting.
Yes.
Like, because everything is a race against time. Once that baby is like kidnapped.
Yes.
Again, like, it becomes like very like race against time. Yes. Everything's at stake. But the comedy, like the humor is still there. The lines are still there. Like it's just really funny.
It is really nonstop action, this movie. It's so much, comedy and action and, some drama, some...
Mm-hmm. Well, it is like sadness. Like even when they bring the baby back,
when they
like
bring the baby back,
the music's very sweet. It's very touching.
It's so sweet, and I love the conversation they have with him, with the father.
Yeah.
I love that scene. That scene is really, really sweet.
Mm-hmm.
And if they could have done it differently, they could have even done it in a way that it seemed like a different movie, but it didn't. It really felt true to the movie, even though it was super sweet. Mm-hmm. It was great.
Leonard Smalls is like I think he's a former football player in real life, but when he's talking to Mr. Arizona, and he's like, you want to find a Dunkin' Donuts? Call a cop. I was like, oh my God. But he's so terrifying.
I remember him being super terrifying.
I remember the drool. I had to look away when he drools right before he realizes it's going to blow up. It's gross.
God, it's so disgusting.
But I thought he was excellent. I thought he was better. He was much better than I remembered.
I remember. Yes, same.
I barely remember him talking.
I didn't even think he talked.
Yeah.
To be honest, because I remember I couldn't remember why where he came from. I remembered him being in the movie, but I couldn't remember where he came from. So I didn't have any kind of recollection of conversations and all, the trying to get his own money. I thought he was hired by someone to get the baby. But he's actually really, really good. Mm-hmm. And super scary back then. Still pretty scary now. But actually acting.
Well, also, yeah, but even I agree, in the physical scenes with Nicolas Cage where he's just beating him up, and then Nicolas Cage is crawling under the truck, and they both have the Woody Woodpecker tattoos.
So bizarre.
And it's so bizarre, but he had this dream of this guy, this impending doom that was coming his way. Mm-hmm. I don't know, it all really, really worked. The guy couldn't ride a motorcycle, but he said he could. So he thought he would just figure it out as he went, and I guess he hurt himself the very first take. Oh my gosh! So they had to make some adjustments for him.
That's funny.
I have to be honest. I don't have very many notes here.
I don't either.
I will say that I wrote down. And through my middle age lens, this feels less of a comedy and more of a caper, but an excellent one. And then I wrote, it's less about the baby and more about greed. I mean, I think those are just things that you
just sort of realize as you grow up. Yeah. Right, exactly.
And, but I loved it, I think, even more. Because some of the more human or more human themes, more adult themes, just made more sense to me.
Yeah, I think so too. I think I liked it more as well. I think that I just appreciated the story itself more. I think that's kind of the same as what you're talking about. But I just felt like the separate storylines tied together better for me watching it now. How it all sort of it was all woven together.
We didn't talk about, and it's excellent, when he goes for Huggies. That
oh, gosh.
whole sequence.
That's such a good sequence.
You know, we visited Terminator recently, and we talked about the car chases and stuff.
Yes.
I think this car chase, blows. Oh,
definitely.
It's one of the best, car chase sequences. It's a foot chase, car chase, truck chase. I mean, and then out of nowhere, and I love this. The cashier has a gun.
Oh gosh!
And he's just shooting at anything.
It's very Texas, right? It's like
oh my God. The dogs attack him.
Oh my gosh!
Everything is so funny, and the poor guy's just screaming, driving the car, and his windshield gets blown out.
Very unexpected. The whole thing is very, very unexpected.
So well done.
It's really good. I love how she's so pissed that he's holding up the place. She's like, we're supposed to be upstanding citizens. So she locks the door and leaves. She strands him. He just robbed a convenience store, and she hightails it out of there. And then she comes back. She comes back to get him, and then they finally are in the car, and there's this whole chase. And then they come back and grab the Huggies. It's just so good. It's just so good. What a good chase scene.
I completely agree. Should we take a little break?
Let's take a little break.
Right.
Yes, I think that's a good idea. I'm going to take a look at my notes.
Hey there, it's Brian.
And Christina.
And we have some exciting news. We now have bonus content on Patreon.
If you're a fan of old roommates or simply enjoy revisiting pop culture, we would love for you to check out our page at patreon.com/oldroommates. Patrons of Old Roommates can expect exclusive content such as special episodes, movie recommendations, special videos from us, and bonus content, among other things. Your support will help us to create more content, offset publishing costs, and expand our resources to improve your listening experience.
Whether you become a patron or not, we appreciate your support. Drop us a comment on social media, give us a rating or review on your podcast app of choice, or send us a message at oldroommatespod@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. Thank you for listening, and now, back to the show.
And we're back talking about Raising Arizona, 1987. I'm guessing just, we both liked it.
All over
right?
again. But did you like it more? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think I liked it more because I liked just seeing how the stories were woven together. Remember?
Yeah. It's on
I had my
Hulu.
little hand moment.
No, I know.
Yeah, okay. What? I'm saying. You just said you weren't sure.
I wasn't sure. I liked it a lot. I liked it even more. I mean, I loved it then. I loved it now. Mm-hmm. It is available on Hulu as we speak, but God knows they change things all the time.
Yeah, and I got mine at the library.
The budget for this was $5.5 million. This thing looks amazing for $5.5 million.
Yeah.
The box office $30 million, and the Coen Brothers have said, even recently, that this remains their most profitable movie, and probably so. It made 6 times its budget.
I'm surprised it didn't make more, to be honest.
Yeah,
I feel like it's such a cult classic. I really think it surprises me. Yeah.
Well, I mean, at that point, Nicolas Cage. Oh God, am I lying right now? What the hell?
Why are you lying to our listeners?
No. I'm trying to think of where this was in his oeuvre, in his filmography. Yes. Let me see.
That I do not know.
I'm going to pull it up right now. Because I don't want to be wrong about this.
We do not want you to be wrong.
Where's his filmography?
I do not know. While you're looking
at it over here.
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry.
Did you find it?
1 moment, please. 82, Fast Times at Ridgemont High. 83, Valley Girl and Rumblefish.
Oh, gosh.
A Matt Dillon film.
That's funny.
Racing with the Moon, The Cotton Club, Birdie, Boy in Blue, Peggy Sue Got Married. Peggy Sue Got Married was before Raising Arizona.
Wow.
I don't know if I would have guessed that.
I would never have guessed that.
I should have guessed that.
You should know that.
I know. And that, oh my God. Ready?
Yeah.
Peggy Sue Got Married was followed by Raising Arizona, followed by Moonstruck.
Of course it was.
All 3 in a row. 3 of my all-time favorite movies.
That's very interesting.
That is so wild. 86, 87.
I want to know what was going on in your life during 86 and 87.
I don't know. God, is Nicolas Cage one of my favorite actors?
I think he is.
So what else? This movie is number 31 on the American Film Institute's Laughs list.
Wow.
Yeah, number 31. That's pretty high.
That is high.
Out of 100 movies, they do this evaluation, so on and so forth. Okay, Nicolas Cage, behind the scenes, he really wanted to ad-lib. He likes ad-libbing. Coen Brothers, not so much.
Interesting.
They worked very hard in the script, and they didn't want the ad-libbing. So, but they were still able to work together, and everything was fine.
That's interesting. It seems like that would be a very tense pairing. Do you know? Like I feel
an ad-libber and such a specific script.
Well, I'm just thinking about the Coen Brothers. Mm-hmm. They have a little bit of a reputation, and I think Nicolas Cage has a bit of a reputation.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of curious how that worked.
Well, there's this whole story where he was in Vampire's Kiss, where he ate a live cockroach. Kathleen Turner had to withdraw some stories from her memoir because she said that one time he allegedly stole a chihuahua, and then he had to bring it back, and then she put that in her book, and then he threatened some legal action, and she removed from further publication from that book, I guess. And then, but I guess he has some unorthodox, ways of working,
mm-hmm.
And on-set behavior.
Just behavior, yeah.
Tex, I'm trying to think of it. I should have looked it up, and I didn't. But the guy who plays Leonard Small, the Coen Brothers would have politely said they would never work with him again, that he was less an actor and more like a force of nature.
Ooh. They
would not pursue employment opportunities with him again. But all that to say, and someone auditioned 3 times for the role of High. I have mentioned one of his movies already in this episode.
In this episode?
When I was talking about Trey Wilson. I said Trey Wilson was also in Blankety Blank. Do you remember what I said?
I don't. Raging Bull?
No.
What was it?
Bull Durham. Kevin Costner.
Oh, Bull Durham.
So Kevin Costner auditioned 3 times.
I don't think he would do good
for the Nicolas Cage role. Well, it's always tough. I think it is tough when we have those conversations on this podcast because we're only comparing to how much we know now. But in 87, Bull Durham was what, 88? 86?
It was around there. Yeah, it was around there.
I'm going to pull up Kevin Costner. Let's see what he did.
I just don't think he would have been that great in that role. He seems like such a serious guy. And he would really have had to have let loose a little bit more when you're thinking about him. That's just my opinion, I suppose.
Okay, so here we go. So this was, what we said, 87. So here we go, 87. He was in Silverado in 85, American Flyers in 85. He hadn't done much, actually, before that. Then 87 was a big year for him. Untouchables, No Way Out, followed by Bull Durham and Field of Dreams. So that would have been between The Untouchables and No Way Out was Raising Arizona. So that would have been a weird...
It's a weird
pill to take. Because he would have done The Untouchables at that point.
Yeah, I just don't see it.
Yeah.
I just don't see it.
Questions.
I have an FMK for you.
Exciting.
Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
All right, so your choices are Gail, John Goodman's character.
Okay.
High,
yeah.
Nicolas Cage, of course.
Yeah.
And Glenn, Sam McMurray's character.
Wowzers.
Yeah, it's
this is a bumper crop.
It's not a good one.
All
right.
Oh jeez. Oh God. Oh my God. All right, I'm done. Ding.
All right.
Oh God.
I think I know what you're gonna say, but I don't know.
I think this feels right. Yeah. The more I look at it, I think this is the right choice.
I'm positive I have the kill right.
I am effing Gail. John Goodman.
Oh my God.
Oh.
Nope. Okay.
As long as he was well showered. I think I've discussed this before on this podcast. If he's well showered, sure.
Anything goes.
No! I guess because he was covered in mud and sewage.
Oh.
But he's like a big bear kind of guy.
Really?
And then,
all right. So okay. As long as you don't have a snack after. The way he ate, right?
The way he eats disgustingly. And then I'd marry High. And I would kill Glenn. Remember, Glenn he repeated himself a lot. And I just couldn't imagine a life with him. Married.
Well, I got this 100% wrong.
Oh, what would I have done with High?
Oh, wait. Who'd you say you married?
I'd marry High.
Oh, okay. I did say you were going to marry High. But that's right. So, because I crossed it a couple times. So, marrying High, killing Gail. I can't believe you would F Gail. But you like those big guys.
Well, F Glenn. I mean, like...
Well, F Glenn, because he's a swinger. He probably has a lot of experience.
Perhaps, but he also talks a lot about his semen in this movie.
That's true.
He mentioned his semen like 3 times.
He could get you pregnant. You're right.
No! It's like oh my God, it doesn't matter. What would you have said?
This isn't really going to happen.
No,
I think I would have married High and killed Gail.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense for you.
Yeah.
Gail
to me was just disgusting. Like, Gail was so gross. His mannerisms, the way he spoke.
He's pretty gross.
He was just, and obviously very dirty. But again, if you're going to shower, I suppose.
Yeah. That was my one prerequisite. Christina, I have a true match game question.
Okay, perfect.
Let me just get the music rat. Let me just get the music rat. Okay. Christina.
Yes.
Good news.
Oh, okay.
High and Edwina had a baby.
Oh my gosh, congratulations.
Bad news.
Oh no.
High Jr. seems to be taken after his thieving criminal dad.
Oh no.
Every time this baby comes home from daycare, he has another baby's blank in his hand.
Okay. Oh, goodness. All right, I'm good. Ding.
Ding. Christina, every time High Jr. comes home from daycare, he has another baby's blank in his hand.
He has another baby's Binky!
Binky! Yay! I had rattle. So when I started taking your advice. I started writing the answer down. I think
that's a good idea.
And then at the last minute, I changed it.
Yeah.
As I heard myself saying it out loud, I was like, "Oh, I know what Christina's gonna write."
Oh
Binky!
My gosh. Binky! And guys, make sure you visit our Patreon page. This week we are posting. So I wrote a book a million years ago when Emily was 4. And it's called Confessions of a 4-Year-Old. And I figured since it's Raising Arizona, I'll do a little bit of an excerpt from my book that I wrote. So
I'm excited for that.
It'll be, it's just not that long. But and you know what I was thinking too, since we were talking, maybe I'll try to find the lullaby. I wonder if we can find the lullaby that Eddie
I have it.
Singing.
Yeah, we'll put it up.
Maybe we'll post that up there too.
That's cute.
So visit our Patreon site, patreon.com/oldroommates. And that's it for us in this episode of Old Roommates. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe to Old Roommates on iTunes, YouTube, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And please give us a rating or review while you're there.
And if you're interested in more Old Roommates, including special episodes, bonus content, movie recommendations, and more, visit our Patreon page at patreon.com. That's patreon.com/oldroommates. Comments and ideas can be emailed to us at oldroommatespod@gmail.com. And don't forget to follow us on social media at Old Roommates.
Thanks again for listening. This is Christina.
And this is Brian. Until next time.